Welcome everyone to the 2021 Family Portrait Luncheon. My name is Christina Crawford and I'm the chair for the luncheon along with my dear friend and co-chair Allison Lowe. We are so excited that you have joined us today. Alzheimer's disease has affected too many of us, and that is why we are here, bonded together not only in hopes of a cure, but bonded together also in going through the stages of our loved one's unfortunate experience. At first we're in denial and we don't want it to happen to them, but the signs are all there. Not remembering names, forgetting where they've placed things, frustration in communicating, and more. Some of us are lucky and have big families to help care for or really babysit them. Such was the case with my grandmother, who suffered for 18 long years. And some of us have to face it with our loved ones alone. And that is why the Alzheimer's Association is so important to Southeast Texas. We're here to help you from the moment your loved one is diagnosed. The Alzheimer's Association can help navigate your next steps, help you find assisted living, and sometimes we are just here to listen. My father-in-law also suffered from this dreadful disease. He was diagnosed at an early age, and it was so hard to accept that this extremely brilliant and kind man couldn't share simple thoughts. We were heartbroken when he wasn't there for our wedding and for other family milestones. Sadly, our honorary chairs and guest speakers experienced the same. Joseph's father, Janie's mother, and Dade's grandmother, and so many of you watching today. We're all bonded together to fund research and to find a cure.
This disease hits home for so many of us. Today you will hear from our wonderful honorary chairs, Sandy and Joseph Fertitta, along with our speakers, Janie and Dade Phelan, Texas Speaker of the House. We hope that you enjoy your lunch and this presentation. Please share the luncheon link with your family and friends.
Hi, everyone. I'm Angel San Juan, and we are so honored to have Dade Phelan with us. He is our Southeast Texas State Representative and currently the Texas Speaker of the House, along with Dade, his mother, Janie. And we're so glad to have them with us today to discuss a special lady in their lives, Lucy. Janie, you learned of your mom's Alzheimer's when a lot of folks did not know much about Alzheimer's. And of course, there were folks that did not know how to actually be a caregiver to someone with Alzheimer's. So how did you learn to be a caregiver?
Well, she was my mom, so that meant I was going to care for her. She went to Galveston trying to figure out what the problem was. I had a friend that was a doctor there, and he did a study on her, and because she was losing so much weight and not eating, and her life had changed. And I thought she had cancer. And when they told me it was probably Alzheimer's, but they didn't know that much about it, I was just relieved, first of all, that it wasn't something deadly at that time. And I took her 2 or 3 different places trying to find out what it was. And if I had not had my family, I probably would not have made it. My husband was treated her like it was his own mom. My kids stepped in and took over and helped me out and had to listen to my stories. And we learned just to treat Mom normal. I think that's why she lived so long. She lived 21 years with it. And we didn't miss a step with her. I think I was so busy because I had so many kids at the time. I had 5 and I just had twins. And we had taken in 2 other children, my sister-in-law's children, for a while. And I was going and going, so she went with me. And she enjoyed all of their things. And when she stopped enjoying them, that's when I decided it was time not to do it anymore, because it was for her that it was her life. And anyway, they helped me. They would go over, and in the evenings when she would get a little restless, I don't know if y'all all know Alzheimer's, a lot of them get restless in the evenings, and they would go stay with her a couple of hours and get her through that. And they would take her to the Dairy Queen and when she wanted to go see Matt, and by then Matt had passed away. So they would take her, and by the time she got her ice cream, she'd forget about it. So they didn't bring her back. So anyway, we learned to live with it, and we enjoyed her, and that would be my advice to anybody, to love them and enjoy them while you can.
And you bring up such a great point about the family help, because obviously when when a child learns that their parent has Alzheimer's, it's a blow, but then you automatically have to get into gear to take care of them. But you had young children, you had children to take care of, yet you had to reach out to them. How did you tell them, and how did you basically encourage them or to help you out in this endeavor, and to basically know how to treat their grandmother?
Well, I had a good example. My grandmother lived in my room with me until I was 14, and she died. So all my friends came over, and they would bunk in with Nana and Annie. And there was never a question. And my children, I just thought that they would do it, and they did it. And I kind of expected that of all of them. And so there's so many fun stories that we had with her, and the kids were all a part of it. We would bring her home at Christmas, and I don't know if you remember us pushing her kind of up to a Christmas tree where she could see all the lights, because by then she couldn't raise her head up. And there were times that I brought her home, and she was on a gurney, and the kids would have her rolling down the street. And we enjoyed her as much as we could, and they were a great help to me. My friends were too. None of my friends were going through it. I had the oldest mother out of all of them, because she had me late in life, and none of them had to deal with it. And so they had to listen to my stories too. So anyway, they were huge help, my children.
Which is so nice to know that memories, even after she had Alzheimer's, y'all had great memories. Y'all made great memories.
Absolutely. We had some great stories. I always say that I could tell the stories, but I didn't want anybody else talking about my mom. I could do it, but they couldn't. But some of the things were just priceless. And we were also blessed. Mother was a trooper, and she was in great health other than the Alzheimer's. She did all these studies in Galveston for medicines, and she was a trooper, and she was not a restless Alzheimer's. She didn't try to leave, and I know a lot of people have that, and my heart goes to them, because it's a tough thing.
Well, Dade, I know caring for your grandmother became a family mission. And you were young, and obviously it's hard for an adult to take care of an adult, but how was it for you to have to, how did that influence you taking care of your grandmother at such a young age, and watching your mom taking care of her mom?
Well, I don't think I fully appreciated it until I had my own children. This the balancing act of life in itself, whether it's school, Little League, and Boy Scouts, and golf, your career, the involvement you have in the community. It's just a huge balancing act, right? So I don't think I fully appreciated it until later in life. It was just a way of life back then. It was just something we did for 20 years. So
That's right.
It was a long time. But being a parent now and understanding how difficult it is to want to be there for your parent who raised you, but also the enormous responsibility you have of making sure your children have a normal life as well, and are able to participate and do what they want to do. So luckily she was down the street. She wasn't far from our house. And she had excellent caregivers, which is not easy in this world, to find a good caregiver that's going to give quality, responsive care on a day in, day out basis. But and that's one of the reasons she probably survived as long as she did. So it is a balancing act. It's not easy.
I'm waiting for them to take care of me. My husband said he's not doing it because I'm not as nice as my mom.
Well, that's why she had daughters. I got 4 boys, so I don't have much hope in life. But she has at least daughters to take care of her.
And a son now. I did hear when you made your first speech as speaker, you did say you were the favorite. So obviously that carries a lot of burden there.
Well, they say you know when a politician is lying when his lips are moving. So take it for what it's worth.
Well, Dade, how did the experience influence you? Not only watching your your mom take care of your grandmother, but you taking part in that care.
Again, you get perspective later in life of how important it is to provide for those who provided for you. And it kind of carries over into public service and in the office I have now, where when you have advocates coming to your office with a position, whether it's Alzheimer's or cancer research or heart disease or whatever it may be, it certainly puts perspective and a real life experience. And you understand that $1 million here may not be that big of a deal in a $250 billion budget. But for instance, $1 million last session to the Alzheimer's Association was a big deal. So it's easy to go out there and advocate for it. So it's just a different wrinkle in life doing the public service side of this, but having that perspective of real life experience when it comes to Alzheimer's, for instance, makes it easy to be a cheerleader.
Dade, what is the state doing? I mean, now you're in a spot, not only are you our Southeast Texas State Representative, but you're Speaker of the House. What is the state doing to help those living with Alzheimer's and their caregivers?
Well, I think the state's come a long way. Since I've been in office, and since 2015, the state has really stepped it up when it comes to Alzheimer's research and involvement in the programs. The unpaid lobbyist over here, my mother reminds me of that. But we really have come a long way. And in 2019, just this last session, I thought was kind of a landmark session for the Alzheimer's Association and research. And I give a lot of credit to Dr. Zerwas, who was a physician at the time, chair of appropriations. And not only did he write and foster and pass a state plan for Alzheimer's research and involvement. It's a 5-year revolving plan, so they'll update it in 2023, but it's a very comprehensive 33-page report on how the state can do better in the Alzheimer's space and how we can help facilitate cooperation and research. And so, we can build on that. Also, they appropriated $1 million last session specifically to this, and of course, we can build on that in 2021, make certain that money's there again in a tighter budget cycle. So the state always has involvement, but truthfully, I think it comes back to the public-private partnerships and working with those in the research fields and the healthcare providers and empowering them to do more and to cooperate more. And so that's where I think the state probably has the biggest role to play.
And what's ahead? Do you know anything else? Obviously, that plan sounds like y'all have a roadmap.
Yes.
But there's a lot going on right now in the state of Texas and in the legislature. So how's it looking to keep that ball rolling?
Sure. I think, funding's important, and I feel good about that. Also, I know that one of the priorities is more information when you have a loved one going to a long care facility, that you know exactly what the plan is for dementia and for Alzheimer's, so you know what your loved one, what kind of treatment they will not be getting, so you can make an informed decision. And I think another prerogative would be training with law enforcement to be able to look at dementia or Alzheimer's and understand that this is not a violent individual, this is somebody suffering from something that they can't control. And we did that with a lot of mental health issues over the last several cycles, and it's paid huge dividends because this person is not a danger or threat to society. They're suffering from something at that particular moment. Does not really require incarceration or hospitalization. It's more of a de-escalation issue. And so I think that's something that we can work on this session as well.
What's the best advice you could give someone that's a caregiver?
First of all, love them. That's the best. Love them like they are. Don't argue with them. They don't understand. And if you just say, yes, I'm going to do it, in a few minutes, they'll forget it. Don't talk about them when they're standing there. I've seen people do that, and it breaks my heart. Because my mother knew. My mother knew a lot. I mean, she'd have good days and bad days, but she knew. And I mean, I had her friends that would say, what's wrong with her? I mean, just right in front of her. And I could do it, but they couldn't. But, it's just, I don't know. You just have to enjoy them for as long as you have them. I was glad just to be able to see her face. And I know she knew I loved her, and I don't know if she knew who I really was, but at the end. But she took care of me all those years. It's time, the reverse.
You did a great job with her, and you're doing such a good job you did a great job with Dade, too, by the way.
Yeah, I'll take some of that back. Not to be judged on him, but I hope I did. And I I enjoyed her while I had her. And I love this guy too.
And Dade, your grandmother, your memories, obviously made a lot of, she brought you a lot of good memories. Your thoughts when you think of your grandmother today?
I mean, she was a character. I spent a lot of time over there, especially after the twins were born, before anything happened as far as Alzheimer's does. You just don't forget those kind of small moments of her sweeping the carport over there and that house over there behind Carlito's now.
Wall Street.
Over on Wall Street. And a lot of folks grew up over there. I mean, I forget how many people grew up in that neighborhood who are friends of mine now, right? But I just remember spending a lot of time over there in the lot next door, and she let us mix our Fruit Loops and Apple Jacks in one bowl, which was unheard of at the time. So she was just a really sweet lady. And, to build on what my mom said, I think it's one day at a time. I mean, when you have a situation like that in your life, you can't. The enormity of 20 years, I'm sure she probably would have lost her mind if she thought she'd been going for 21 years. But one day at a time,
I remember her telling me one day, she said it right when she was first getting it, she said, I don't know what's going on. She said, I don't remember what I did yesterday. What is going on? And I remember Will Eldon's suite came into her hospital room when I had her in there one time testing for something, and Leldon said something to her. He said, I don't know where I put my keys. And she said, that's how mine all started. So she had a great sense of humor,
that sense
too.
Of humor, yes.
She was a great cook, and we just have really good memories of her then and then later on, too.
Well, I'll tell you, in politics, I wish there were times I couldn't remember yesterday.
It'd
be beneficial. But
Or your mom will remind you.
Yes, I will.
You will remind me. Y'all will remind me.
Well, guys, thank you so much. I admire what you did with Lucy, and I know she's in heaven looking down, very proud of both of you and the entire family. Thank you for this, sharing this with us. It's going to help a lot of people. And again, we'd like to thank Dade and Janie for joining us. Now, we would like you to enjoy the rest of the program.
Hello, I'm Sandy Fertitta.
And I'm Joseph Fertitta.
And today I want to share with you just how amazing the Alzheimer's Association truly is. It is instrumental in navigating the caregiver, the family member, and the patient through this most difficult and heart-wrenching disease with love, kindness, support, compassion. And I want to thank you for this honor. It is truly a blessing to us, and it truly means so very much.
And as my wife Sandy said, this is a very, very humbling experience to travel down the road with someone that you love that has this disease. And when you have a loved one look at you and say, I know who you are. You're my relative, aren't you? And it's your father. Well, that's the experience and the path that I traveled down with my daddy. And I saw the shell of the man he once was. He was a very outgoing, very successful, vibrant person that loved his family, his business, and the community. And then to see him literally waste away and become something and someone that I didn't recognize. It was sad. It was long. It was just hard to explain, I guess. But as Sandy said, it's traveling the road with the people and the support that gives you the determination to belong to and help the organizations like Alzheimer's organization to eradicate this disease. And it can happen. And it can only happen, just as Sandy had said, through the dedication, the contributions, the determination, the willpower and the patience to do it. So once again, I'd like to thank y'all for honoring Sandy and I. We feel very, very humbled by this, and we would like to tell you to click the button and make a contribution so that this disease can be eradicated.
Here comes the sun, doo-doo-doo. Here comes the sun, and I said, it's alright. Little darling, it's been a long, cold, lonely winter. Little darling, it feels like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun, doo-doo-doo. Here comes the sun, and I said, it's alright. Little darling, the smiles returning to the faces. Little darling, it seems like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun, doo-doo-doo. Here comes the sun, and I said, it's alright. Sun, 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 here it comes. Sun, 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 here it comes. Sun, 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 here it comes. Little darling, I feel the ice is slowly melting. Little darling, it seems like years since it's been clear. Here comes the sun, doo-doo-doo. Here comes the sun, and I said, it's alright. Here comes the sun, doo-doo-doo. Here comes the sun, and I said, it's alright. It's alright.
Hello everyone, my name is Shanna Briggs and I'm the Regional Manager of the Beaumont and Southeast Texas Alzheimer's Association. Today's virtual luncheon is a success thanks to the tireless efforts of our incredible luncheon chair and co-chair, Christina Crawford and Allison Lowe, as well as our honorary chairs, Sandy and Joseph Fertitta. We are also thankful to them and their dutiful committee members for working so hard to make this virtual luncheon a wonderful success. If there's one thing that we hope that you take away from this luncheon, it is this. The Alzheimer's Association is here for you if you're struggling with Alzheimer's or related dementia. We are here for your friend whose mother has trouble remembering that she has children. We're here for your sister-in-law who is trying to find an assisted living facility for her father with dementia. We're here for you and your loved ones when you're facing Alzheimer's diagnosis and don't know where to start. Anyone can access the help and assistance they need to face Alzheimer's disease. The Alzheimer's Association is available 24/7, 365 to ensure that nobody fights this disease alone. We were able to make that commitment as a result of your support by joining us today. If you'd like to make an additional gift, you can do so by clicking on one of the donation opportunities at the top of the virtual luncheon website. Thank you in advance for your investments in the care and support for local families struggling with Alzheimer's and dementia. Be sure and share the link with your family and friends, and know we at the Alzheimer's Association are always here for you.